The following program is an Animal House radio production.
You know, in meats and in milk, there's so many things right now that I think, as in general, the population and the public sit back and say, hey, there's something going on over here. We just want to look at the ingredients a little bit more than we did a year or 2 years ago. Because, I mean, I think now that people, when menu foods came out and when this whole tragedy happened with the pet food recall, I think everybody stood back and said, hey, if this can happen, if a company this big and it can slip through their fingers and happen to animals, this can happen to humans.
Right. And it has.
And this year it has.
Foods it did. Yeah. But I think it's really good that anything that makes us more aware is a good thing.
Of course.
Again, you look at the positive. We all now, and I think I hope people realize from the menu foods scandal that there were a ton, most of the foods that were recalled by menu foods were typically more of the inexpensive brands. Not to say menu foods doesn't make good brands of food, but that's what I noticed. I noticed a lot of the sort of cheaper supermarket brands were in that list. And I sort of stop and think, how much regulation is going into some of the cheaper brands versus some of the more expensive brands?
Oh, of course.
I appreciate that we all have a budget, but I think when it comes to feeding our animals, we have to think about the fact that we're either going to feed them McDonald's all day long, or we're going to feed them a decent food.
2008 Year in Review is brought to you by Dealing with Dogs, Lifestyle Obedience for you and your puppy, serving Oakville, Toronto, Mississauga, and Burlington. Call 905-469-1555 or visit them at www.dealingwithdogs.com. Just mention to Lisa that Aaron and Dr. Mike sent you. Now, some of the other cool things that this year that have been very big stories, panda cams, okay? Basically, you have puppy cams, videos of 6 babies. Well, no, actually, I'm reading this completely wrong. So I'm thinking it's pandas, but these are the panda cams. These are for the pandas in the zoo.
Yeah, no, the panda cams was something that was big a couple of years ago, and now this year they had somebody came out with a video of their little 6 Shiba Inu puppies, and apparently that one video was such a huge, you talk about viral marketing, this thing was unbelievable, the amount of press that it got, the number of people that watched this video.
Oh, of course.
Essentially, they set up this video camera on these puppies, and people got to watch them all day long. And apparently these puppies are all going to be adopted out in December, so everybody who's watching those videos right now are not going to be able to see them anymore. But so it's just sort of, we got onto the ticket of panda cams a while back, and now we're going on to puppy cams. That's sort of the new tradition.
You know what? And talk about outsourcing. A lot of people saying, hey, listen, I lost my job as a waiter to so-and-so. All my jobs have been sent overseas. There are people in Japan right now who can't serve anymore as waiters because you know why? They've outsourced that job to chimpanzees.
Actually, no, it's macaques.
Same thing as chimpanzees. I'm going to challenge you on absolutely anything and everything. I've seen the video of this. They're chimpanzees. They're part of the chimp family.
No, they're little baby macaques. Totally different than chimpanzees.
They're
Leave it to the vet to tell you what kind of animal
chimp
it is.
macaques.
Anyway, these little macaques actually are involved in serving hot towels to customers and drinks as well. And they only work 2 hours a day, which is kind of neat. And their pay is soybeans. So you can tip them as high as you want. You can watch that video on YouTube.
I've seen the video.
If you type
they look like
monkey waiters.
But they look like monkeys and chimpanzees.
They don't look anything like a chimpanzee.
Oh, they look like monkeys.
Okay, for all of you who want to know what the difference between a chimp and a macaque is, go on and type that in Google, and you can do that right now.
I'm going to Google this right now.
Well, I'll continue on with some more of the 10 top stories of 2008 for animals.
How do you spell macaque?
See, that's why you said chimpanzee, because you can't spell macaque.
Well, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm going to prove you wrong. There you go. I've typed it in. We're looking
I'm thinking
over
that
here.
he was thinking that's a chimpanzee's bowel movement or something, That's what he's going. He just called it a chimpanzee because he thought that, anyway.
I'm looking right now, and I'm going to show you that, look, monkeys. Look, it looked just like a monkey and a chipmunk.
It's a monkey, not a, anyway.
Look at this.
We can argue about
looks
that
like a chip.
in the face. So let's go on to these, by the way, are the 10 stories that developed that are on time.com for the 10 most influential 2008 stories about animals.
I subscribe to Time.
There you go. Okay. Of course, the one we all know is the Obama scenario, getting his 10-year-old daughter, Malia, a pup. Now, this is really cool. I didn't know this, but you can go to a website, presidentialpup.com, and vote for the type of pup that they should have. And believe it or not,
ridiculous.
42,000 people voted. And, of course, guess who won? The poodle. That's my dog.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let the guy just pick a dog. You know what? Pick a cat. Just be like mad at it. You know what? I ain't going to go with the dog. I'm going with the cat. Or just keep George W. Bush's dogs.
Speaking of George W. Bush, that's another one of the top 10
Well,
stories.
yeah, because his dog went after a journalist.
Exactly.
And I remember that.
John Decker was his name, and his little Scottish Terrier. I forget the guy's name. Barney, that's it. Barney.
Yep, he's got 2 of them.
Yes. So,
And it went out, basically the reporter went up and started petting the dog, and the dog went, Hound! It was like George W. was like, you gonna pet me?
do you know what a Scottish Terrier looks like, by the way?
Yeah, the
Little black?
yeah. Of course.
Do you know what the white relative is called? This is trivia, by the way.
Do I know what the white relative of the Scottish?
A Scottish Terrier is the black
Okay, so I'd
white
say
thing that looks exactly like it.
the British Bulldog?
No, the West Highland White Terrier, Westies.
Westies.
Now, what's fascinating about so there's Westies and there's Scotties, and Westies are these cute little white hairy things, and Scotties are these black hairy things. Don't go there, Aaron. He's smiling. That's
Who's
not good.
Aaron? I don't know who this Aaron person is.
Aaron. I'm sorry. But what's interesting is I have a very sweet Westie in my clinic named Scotty. Yes.
So
Just trivia.
Scottish name for the. Oh.
Yes.
Now there was another case where Wales lose Supreme Court case.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how we got the Wales to go in there and fight in the Supreme Court, but it's very interesting. They
Well,
must
what was
have taken-
happening is
take the tank like in Star Trek, the movie when they brought the whales back to the future and they saved the population of Earth. And
Yeah. Here's how it works. The Navy was doing these training exercises, and they used these sonar pulses, I guess, from the submarines. And they, believe it or not, were causing damage to whales and dolphins, to their ears, to their sense of balance and their way to locate. In fact, they found a few whales that ended up landing on that were beached whales, and they found bleeding in their ears, and they attributed it to these sonar pulses coming from these Navy ships. So they tried to get the government to stop these exercises, and unfortunately that didn't go through. So that's what they mean when they lose the Supreme Court case. However, the big bonus is that now before the Navy goes to do their little exercises, they have to make out these what they call environmental impact reports, which essentially, so at least now they're going to be aware of what they're doing to the whales and the dolphins.
interesting. Now, once again, PETA always gets involved in everything, and you know what? This is interesting. November. A 2-year-old Asian elephant died of elephant herpes.
And he didn't get it from you, right?
No.
No. Okay, and that
Darn,
was at
no.
the Houston Zoo.
Yeah,
And-
I haven't been to Houston in a while, so it can't be from me. But I didn't even know elephants can get herpes.
Well, it's a certain type of herpes. Yeah.
But how could it die from herpes? Don't they give it a cream? No, but I mean, seriously. You can treat herpes in people. Why can't you treat it in elephants?
Right.
And did they not
Well, I
see
guess
it
maybe they
have a
didn't catch it
breakout?
earlier enough. There's actually been 6 elephants in that zoo that were either born in that zoo or raised in that zoo that have
They've
died. of herpes.
And that's why PETA is pretty much coming in there and saying, you know what? We want this zoo to be closed down for breeding purposes. No more breeding, and we actually want the zoo to be closed down. So
Not closed down, just the breeding program.
Yeah, but
closed
they've
down.
also mentioned that they want the zoo to be closed down in
Oh, really?
general for
Oh,
all
cool.
this stuff happening.
Didn't know that.
Once again, it is a big story because PETA, once again, is putting their foot down like they always do, and they sit there, and blah, 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 blah. PETA's good for a few things. And I'll say this: they're my good friends at PETA. I support them for a few things. I support them to promote against animal cruelty. I support them against puppy mills. I support them against birth control. But I don't support some of the stuff that goes, way too over the board. Some of the stuff they do is just a little bit beyond, and those types of things I don't support. But I do support when they get involved in these types of causes, and when a 2-year-old elephant dies, a 2-year-old elephant shouldn't die.
Right.
And herpes is a preventable outbreak for elephants. We've known this for years. It's on the elephant herpes and danger list.
Oh,
How did the elephant get herpes to begin with? Do they have more than one elephant there with herpes? And if so, they should have been wearing protection.
I don't know all the details.
But you know what? We're going to take a break. But before we go to break, Mike, I got to tell you, we have a winner for Facebook here after Mike is checking his Crackberry. We're getting messages. What's the message say? No? What, is it from your friend in St. Louis? No?
Go.
Okay.
Talk.
Well, once again, from Facebook, we have our group called the Animal House Radio Group. Mike, you visit that group all the time. You're always posting.
There you go. Continue.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Now, the number one picture that everybody on the team got to pick from was this picture right here. Okay? It was taken, and the picture says, "Please love me just love me.